Oh, hello, and welcome to Dente, Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. And tonight we have, from our bunkers, our respective bunkers,
Yep.
we bring you alternate 21328. We're currently all separated by distances, and we are coming to you live, recorded from wireless signals. I don't know where that was going.
I don't either. I was hoping it was going somewhere.
So yeah, alternate.
Good.
Sorry. Okay.
Quick flag, everybody.
Yeah. Well, what do you expect? We're all in quarantine.
Yeah.
Which we are now officially dating this episode of when it was recorded, but fuck it. The world's going to hell at the currently, so let's just go on. So alternate 21328, or the what is it, like the program speech or something like that for the swastika?
Yeah, that's the alt code you use.
Yeah, the alt code. That's what it is. Yeah.
And it's
basically
alt Unicode. Specifically.
Yes. Hence why it's called alternate. I guess.
Yes.
It's a this story is a sequel to the previous one we did, which was the cell phone game. This is the side of the story told from Rottenbacker's side of things, or as he's known in this one, things.
John.
His name is John. I thought no, that was Jack's
Jason,
actual name. Yeah, Jason. That's what it was. Yeah. So this story itself was by
button?
Yeah. What?
Does this story come with a Jason button?
A Jason button?
What game was that? Where like you're
Heavy Rain.
Yeah.
Jason. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. Yeah, so this story was by Jack the Ritter. It's on creepypasta.wiki. And as we found out, the previous story, which is a spin-off or like a prequel, sequel kind of connected story to this one, the cell phone game, was actually posted by Retardo the Magnificent. So these don't appear to be the same author, but they are the same setting and storyline. So, which is actually pretty neat because they are told by two very different people. So it makes sense for them to have like it would make sense to have two writers tell two different points of view of the same story. Rundown's going to be pretty shaky, guys, because I'm basically reading it off from the what I can remember and what I have in front of me at the wiki site. So fair warning. So Jason, Jason. Sorry. It's not gonna get old. Yeah. So he starts the story off because this is basically like his memoir. Starts it off with the alt code for the swastika, just so the swastika is there, right at the get-go. And then now that he has our attention, he's going to go into and tell his side of the story of what happened in the early months of 2007. When his life was completely ruined by that symbol and the cell phone game. He basically was an honor student. He was a very upstanding individual, and then some bitches from school decided to play the cell phone game on him and get him roped into the whole mess. He got the message, and then like the next day or so started getting weird hallucinations, and so yeah, he started having hallucinations and stuff like that. And then like the girls at school, Kaylee specifically, kind of the head honcho of the group, started like fucking with him at school, like harassing him, and then he decided to he knows he had a new update on his phone, like a new like an app, because he has like this really nice like Motorola from back then. It was probably the Razor.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And he saw like that it had like basically a GPS function and a couple of other functions, and he was like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna turn this off until like I go home or something," and figure that out. And then on his way, trying to get home that day, Kaylee intercepts and tries to harass him further, and he tries to ignore her, but then she does something with her phone, that like causes him to black out, and she says something about like taking some days from him. And so
she doesn't say it specifically that bluntly. She says, "Thanks for the time."
Yeah, thanks for the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then he goes home and starts fiddling around with the system, the app again, and eventually finds someone to like talk to about this in this guy named Starlov, who is locked himself in his apartment. And he basically explains the whole like kind of mythos of the cell phone game, and how like you can't turn off your phone because it makes you defenseless against other people who can attack you with powers, because on top of being cursed, you get like a quirky power as a result of the app.
You basically get like a Warframe ability.
Yeah, you get
It's
like
weird.
a Warframe ability, or like I have some notes in my actual thoughts on that. Yeah, basically you get like a neat little cyber ability, or like supernatural cyber ability. And he checks his, and apparently his is like just stealthing. So that's
It
pretty
literally
neat.
turns his actual body invisible.
Yeah, his whole body plus his phone plus whatever he's touching, and then like as you find out when he drops his phone, the phone de-stealths, and then so does he. So you actually have to be You have to be holding your phone to actively do it. However, Starlov warns that it will burn out your
battery really
battery.
quickly.
Yeah. So he then tells him that he has to find a protective item, but it will hurt you, and not just like physically. Like it basically like hurts something personal that you, or like some kind of it hurts you personally. Like Starlov has a shitty leg brace, or like not amputation, or
He wanted to play basketball.
prosthetic.
So he got his knee replaced with a crappy knee replacement, so he could never play basketball ever again.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, that and it hurts on rainy days, or like just whenever, because it's a crappy version of it. But it keeps him safe from being taken by the others, which like he's not. They kind of insinuate that there's some kind of like maybe some kind of supernatural thing, that are always aware of you. So our buddy there, Jason, goes out and tries looking for a protective item himself, and it just kind of happens upon him after like 7 days, where he's just walking home from school down near the ravine, or where is it? Down near the yeah, down by like by a river, or by a waterway, and this girl who's like looks like she's been beaten. She's got a shaved head, and got like a leather jacket on, and she's got a black eye. She like just comes up to him and claiming that somebody has raped her, and that she can't take it anymore, and grabs something out of her pocket and puts it, or like grabs something from her and just stuffs it into his shirt pocket. And then before he can react, she grabs a gun from her pocket, puts it in her mouth, and blows her head off, and then falls into the water. And when he checks to see what she put in his pocket, he discovers a Nazi armband. And lo and behold, he knows that is his protective item, because it will ruin his reputation and such. So after calling the cops about a suicide and getting all the rigmarole from that, It's literally like a paragraph and a half of the whole encounter. He comes home and realizes that he has to wear this armband. Wears it overnight, and all the hallucinations and stuff he's been getting that have been increasing all go away for a nice rest of sleep. The next couple of days, though, he has to go to school with that on, and he's able to hide it for the most part, except for when he has to change. And that's when people start realizing that he is wearing a Nazi armband, and it's not just a joke. So he's getting in trouble with school. He's getting in trouble with people. Eventually, he decides to just like tear it off and just like off at the end of like his 2 weeks. He decides to just take it off just like for like this and just sleep. But then like an hour later, the things start trying to bash through his door to get to him, like the door of his house. And so as soon as he puts the armband back on, they vanish. And you find that like his parents' super secure metal door has been bented in. All the wood, like decorative parts of the door, have been shattered. And his parents see that he has the Nazi armband on, so they throw him out, and he has to basically live in an apartment. Eventually, he goes after Kaylee, and using his stealth drive, basically, while she's coming off of
First, she
being
dash
super drunk
punches
from
him
a
in
party,
the face.
he manages to yes, yeah. There's a fight, but he doesn't really fight back. He just kind of outsmarts her. But yeah, she uses like another power that she has, not just time power, but she has like a way to like increase her speed and strength. And then he manages to go invisible and then grab her phone and smash it to the ground and take the SD card or the SIM card, and basically leaves her there scrambling. And then like a little while later, she's taken. And I'm pretty sure that's basically where we kind of drift off. Like the rest of the story, like he kind of summarizes like the events of what happened with John or Jack from the previous story, and like he's not going to go into all the details because you should have read that story prior. But basically, Jack got it right, or got most of it pretty right. Just
Stephanie
in
was
a
way worse.
rather simple way. Stephanie was way worse than Kaylee. Yeah, than Kaylee. And then basically we get a little bit of a monologue about him kind of experiencing like existential like hatred for himself for having to wear the armband to protect himself and like to survive, and also kind of like you stare into the or if you wear a mask long enough, you kind of become the mask. So like he's starting to kind of like get really he's starting to get an interest in Nazism, even though he hates that. And like that's kind of where the story mostly ends, is where he's talking about like how this has completely ruined his life, but he's going to continue on because he's been talking with Starlov, and there's one of the functions of the app. They weren't able to really make much sense of it, but it's got like a pattern to it, and they realize that it's counting down, like it's ticking away to some event in the future, and they're not sure. They're still looking into like what that is, and that's kind of where we are left off. So again, apologies for the rundown. I next time I will hopefully be a little bit more prepared with a better synopsis. But go check it out. It's on creepypasta.wiki. And then we'll dive into our thoughts and grammar inquisitions and whatnot. So, speaking of,
everyone tolerates the grammar inquisitions.
So I'm going to start with this one. Kaylee seemed to be enjoying my suffering, although it did seem to bother her that I hadn't vanished at the end of 2 weeks, as she has expected. So, really, it's just this is the only time that the story actually like broke tense, and it was just like she had expected, not has.
Mm-hmm.
And then my other one, because I only have two for this story that I was really like, that was like, oh wow, she did in fact threaten me with his gun when she came to my apartment, and it wouldn't surprise at all me if she did sleep with him that night just to get her hands on it. So it's the way that is, it should be, and it wouldn't surprise me at all, not surprise at all me.
Alright. Did you also notice that that's a run-on sentence?
Yeah, reading it, yeah, that's pretty run on. I mean, it's two sentence or 2 lines, but yeah, it's still pretty long. And that is my grammar acquisitions. So, Mikey.
Alright. Well, you got my 1. But then I still have front butts, front ends, and it's.
Oh my. So is this a conjunction junction?
It can be, I guess.
Wow.
If I have to, I guess. All right, and now a conjunction junction with Mikey. The E stands for evil, with a side helping of an it story. Take it away.
But to me, she'll always just be that annoying bitch who ruined my life. But whatever it was, as the reality of the ability set in, I was forced to accept that everything else Starlove told me must have been true. But day after day, when they saw me wearing it all week, eventually the other students began to spread rumors. And again. And how each time you did this, you bought yourself only half as much time as the time before. So eventually it got to the point where you bought yourself almost no time at all. And so did my hands. It was Wednesday, April 20th, 2005. It seems, however, that Kaylee and a couple of her friends took notice. It was a glowing blue icon in an apartment complex near my family's house. At this time, I still lived with my father and mother. It was a red Nazi armband. It was like an explosion, and I heard the sound of splintering wood. It wasn't easy reconciling this with my Christianity. It's a countdown, ticking away inexorably toward some event.
It's the final countdown. Do-do-do-do. Sorry.
Wow.
I assume that was it.
Yeah, that was it.
That was the last sentence.
Cool.
Yeah. There's a part where it's like, and it was on my hands. So I was like, what?
Yeah, near the start, it made it seem like Starlov was the bitch that ruined his life. And then at school, kids made fun of him because of the armband. But when they did that, the kids got more time because of it.
Yeah. Oh, silly. Conjunction junctions and it stories.
Mm-hmm.
So, Gamer, do you have is that the end of your grammar acquisitions there, Mikey?
Yep.
Okay. Guess we move on to the grammar in yellow.
What's up, fag? She said as I was passing her. The weird sisters at her side laughed mockingly, as if the pathetic attempt at cajoling me were somehow hilarious. So, I only just learned what cajoling means from this story, but I believe it was used wrong, because cajoling means to be persuaded to do something. But all she did is say, "What's up?"
Well, she's trying. Yeah, well, I think he's using it in the regard that they're trying to cajole him into reacting to their harassment, right?
Oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's where it is. They're trying to egg him on, basically.
Persuaded to just get angry, I guess.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah,
and to react, because that's usually why bullies do that, is to try and get a reaction out of you.
Yeah. And I'll give that a pass, I suppose. He paused for a moment and looked at me thoughtfully, as if he were trying to decide if he believed me. At length, he closed the door, undid the chain, and opened it up to let me inside. I don't get what "at length" is getting at.
Yeah, I guess like maybe at length, like he was like he waited there a moment, just like they're like, should I let him in? Like, should he stay or should he go? Kind of thing. Like,
The
but
at
yeah, it
length
does
is
seem like
at the start of the next sentence, which is him talking about closing the door, undoing the chain, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
It's not
no, I
when he's waiting.
But
Like,
no,
yeah.
it just took him a really long time to undo the chains because he's got a bunch of them.
Oh yeah, that
But
could
it's
be
before
it.
closing the door, so at length he closed the door. So is the door like really
He's
slow
like,
to close?
I'm just gonna close this.
Yeah.
Just like either really awkward or just like hurt. Why did I? Right, I installed a safe door for my apartment door, kind of thing. Yeah,
But yeah,
no, I get you. I can. Yeah,
And speaking of, I could hear my parents awake and shouting from the other room. At length, when I was reasonably sure the sound had stopped and the only sounds were my father swearing, I left the room to see what happened. Again, I don't know what at length means in this
I think.
usage.
Yeah, I think for that one, he waited like for a little bit. Like he waited some time before like doing something. But yeah, it seems like at length is like the word of the day.
Yeah, it
For
kind of
sure.
is, at least for me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure it's just a specific dialect where that's a thing, and I'm not privy to it,
Mhm.
so I don't understand. But
That's
yeah.
fair. Yeah.
Then my last one. A few nights later, she turned up at my apartment and swore at me. She would have attacked me, but I kept the door chained. This didn't stop her from reaching in the door and throwing herself against it, trying to break the chain. So reaching in the door? Like, she broke the window to try to reach inside to unlock it?
No,
But it's an apartment
no,
door with a chain on it, so it doesn't have a window, so how'd she reach in the door?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
the door was chained, so it's slightly open, and then she's reaching in through the opening.
to try and unlock it, like how in some
It
movies
still
when like
got
yeah,
open a little bit.
like she managed to get the door open, maybe like when he went to like answer it, but because he had the chain on, like she wasn't able to just like throw it open. So like she has that gap that she's trying to like using her arm basically to try and get the chain. Yeah.
I didn't know that the door was opened a bit. I thought it was still like shut up tight. I'm like, how is she reaching in? I don't understand.
Well,
Because it doesn't say that the door opened, but the chain kept her from getting in.
Yeah, but because it mentions the chain, that's kind of like it's an insinuation. But I get you.
Yeah, I just assumed like, okay, there's a chain, but there's probably also a knob lock on it or a deadbolt, so it's actually still closed, just also chained. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. It could use like just a quick like verse of just like she managed to, she would have swung the door open and got in, but the chain like prevented her, and then she was she was reaching in through that gap or something.
Yeah. But yeah,
because I mean, I got it. Yeah, that's fair.
That's the end of my grammar.
Okay. Well, now we'll head on to actual thoughts. So starting with this one here, as far as I've been able to discern, for as long as mail and telegrams and the like have been around, the game, as it has most often been referred to, has existed in some form or another. And everyone reading / listening just lost. Sorry, folks. Yep.
I'm just thinking about how telegrams would work.
Just telegrams at midnight to send a curse to somebody.
Yeah.
It's like, oh god, like you had to send it to like telegram, because you back in like the old days, like cowboy days, when telegrams and stuff, where you had to like send it to you had to go to a station at midnight and send it to another station for somebody to find, for somebody to forward it to. So like, does it like you type in, it's like the message, and then it gets sent to this, like, huh, what's this, to this person? Okay, guess I'll get that into somebody. It's an interesting idea. I like the idea of like this thing just like transcending beyond like cyberness and going to just like it's basically a chainmail, like it's like a chainmail curse kind of thing.
Yep.
Makes me wonder how the app powers worked back then in the GPS.
Yeah. it was actually like that's why the postal service was so good or was so badass back then, is because basically they leached all of the powers from the mail.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, clearly. That's why their motto is through rain and snow and all that stuff, because like they can take it. Like they just use these like power quirks from the people that get cursed.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. Or it's or maybe the power thing is like a I wanted to say power thirst so bad for a second. Or the power quirk is just something that's evolved recently into the game.
Yeah. The latest patch.
Yeah. Or it's just the newest iteration of like spells and like stuff like that. Maybe like this is what like where like
Carry
spells
over from medieval times with magic.
Yeah, basically like maybe this is like what is like where like the spells and grimoire stuff is translated into is this game's and its abilities.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think it's a really neat idea, like or like for like translating between like from like an old like the old world to like the new world kind of stuff. But moving on.
Sorry.
Nice.
Ah!
Is it still going? Yeah.
Yep.
The aliens are at Mikey's, just like dom boom. It's like Close Encounters of the Third, or the Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Yeah.
So how's your day so far, Cultist?
Oh, it's not bad. You know, I have dogs. Mikey has UFOs. Mikey has the aliens from the Third Kind. Like just like trying to communicate. They're like door-to-door UFOs. I gotta write that into a comic. It's like they're just like the Jehovah's Witness. They just come door to door. It's like it's like trying to communicate with people with their weird like tones. Anyway, that's it, right, Mikey?
Yeah, for another hour.
Yeah. All right. So on to my next one. It was Wednesday, April 20th, 2005. The irony, or perhaps the appropriateness, of this date may not be lost on those of you who know your history. First off, 420 blaze it. Secondly, I have to say the writing in this is far more refined than the previous story, which lends it to being a different character telling the story on top of a much more dynamic voice in the writing than previous. We get a more definitive timeline as well. It makes sense, too, for the character as their life was so drastically changed by the events that, of course, the date and time of the events would be burned into their mind. And then also, the whole like writing thing, like initially when I was reading this, I didn't realize that it was two separate authors, or at least two separate posters. So as far as we know, the previous story and this one are at least posted by two different people, so maybe they're likely written by two different people. But that actually adds to the whole like kind of internet narrative collaboration thing of like having two characters in the same setting telling this like two sides of the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I actually really like as I was reading this, I was like, wow, this character is like really like well written, like for like, and like based off the previous one, which makes sense because the previous one, the guy was just like a regular high schooler with like seemingly no real like kind of ambition or anything like that, except from just like the more simpler like kid stuff, like getting a girlfriend, getting friends and stuff like that. So like it kind of made sense that his writing was like that, and this character is a lot more refined, like because they
like a valedictorian, probably. And shit.
Yeah, valedictorian and stuff of that before their life was ruined. So it actually makes a ton of sense. And then my next one here. But to me, she'll always be the annoying bitch who ruined my life. And, you know, something, I dared someone to ruin my life. I was kind of getting a little bit of vibes from that in this, like, just, but like just like slight like inklings, like not like saying that this was like a carbon copy or anything like that. Just like I don't know, just the whole being like having your life ruined and like enduring it kind of like motif. Kind of reminded me of the daring somebody to ruin your life series.
That's true.
Yeah. And then moving on, this is in regards to like the protective items, not just physically ruining you, but like kind of ruining your aspirations and stuff like that. Especially when we get it from Starlov, where he was like he loved basketball and he had high hopes, but then the curse happened, and so he had to find something to. He found the knee replacement that like effectively ruined him, but kept him safe from being taken. So I liked the idea that the protective items don't just harm you like physically; they actually harm you like they harm your dreams and passions. Like they have to harm you personally in order for them to like work their magic. Also, just a slight thing, I feel like we could have gotten a little bit more added involving how Starlov had managed to get his knee replacement installed. Like perhaps he went to a street dock or purposefully harmed his own leg to the point where it needed surgery. It's not super necessary. Like I'm not saying that like I think this has to be like this is like a crucial thing. It's just something that like I think a little extra, just like a thought I had on like some extra storytelling. For it. Just like a little. Like maybe we could get Starlov's story where like he had to like break his own knee basically to like and like go to like a street dock to get it like to get this part in when he realized he had his protective item, right? And it would only work if he had it installed, kind of thing. And then so then we go into the part with the power quirks. So this is the quote here. That's not good at all. She must be a time thief. Time thief. Starlov explained that everyone in the game had an ability which could help them in some way or another, and that players were vulnerable to this when their phones were off or if they had no cellular reception. And now this has become like, as I was reading at this point in the story, I was like, and now this has become a dark shoujo series, like where people are cursed, but they by this weird supernatural cyber game or on their phones, but they get like a power quirk as of some kind unique to them. Like think My Hero Academia, which has like everybody, all the superhero characters in that all the students have like a power trait, basically like a singular like quirk or trait that makes them unique as a character or defines them. And just mix that in with like some kind of like dark cyber anime kind of like plot line.
In regards to anime, there's one that's actually currently airing that is very similar in concept. It's called Darwin's Game.
Oh god. Okay. Nice.
And just essentially what happens is you download an app and then the app bites you and then you get a special ability of some sort and then you
it bites you?
Yes.
It's an anime. It's an anime gamer. That's not without.
Like a phone bites you?
I think the digital app bites you.
Yeah, a snake comes out of the app on your phone and bites you in the real world.
Okay.
It's Japan, gamer.
Oh, right. Sure. Okay, please continue.
Yeah, but no, like, yeah, you nailed it on the head. Like, this felt like as soon as like the power was implemented, I was like, this is an anime. Like 100%, this is an anime plot line, and I'm kind of for it. Like, I don't say this is a bad thing. I think this is actually like a really interesting like take for this story, for this like plot to go, because it went from like being kind of just a regular non-ritual ritual pasta, because there is kind of a ritual to the previous story in that like it's more of just talking about the ritual, not telling you how to do it.
So they don't tell you the phone number that you're supposed to send the text to. Exactly,
yeah. Although I thought you had to like the phone number was like whoever you're trying to curse.
No, you have to.
I thought that was
specifically like, you send a text to a very specific phone number, and then they will respond to you saying that you're in the game. And then when you're in the game, you can send out game invites. Basically,
see, based on the previous story and this one, I thought it was like at midnight you text the person that you want to curse. You send them like, I'm going to curse you, and then between your phone sending and their response, it changes the message.
No,
Both it changes the message like you've been welcome to the game to the person that's been cursed, and then also to you because you're cursed as well.
I had a whole
I know
on this in the last one where
I know, but for some reason
there's a specific number you can call. Why can't the police track it?
Yeah,
and be like, oh well, this is the guy that's doing all this. If
I get
calling this number.
Yeah, no, I recall that. In reading this, it got because then why did Jason get a message at midnight then when Kaylee posted that?
He got a message at 1 a.m.
Yeah,
because she got the message at midnight.
But so did he. Because otherwise, how did he get involved?
Because he
just said
sent him a message to get more time.
No, that was before that. I think though.
Cultist, how quickly can you type out "Welcome to the game"? Probably within a minute.
Hang on, let me find out. Worst gamers. There it is.
No. Won't work anyways. I already invited you to the game.
Okay, so that took about 6 seconds.
Yep. So if she sends it at midnight, she has 6 seconds to send it out. She could send out 10 of those in 1 minute.
Also, I'm not gonna lie. I really hope that I was gonna hear over the speakers Dino DNA.
It came through, but I guess I was talking over it, so you didn't hear it.
Damn it.
Sorry.
It's okay. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. I don't know. It just I guess I was just I was misconcepting that. I
just forgot that.
After reading. I forgot from the previous story. Also, reading this one, it kind of for some reason I was thinking that maybe that was how it was, but that's fair. But yeah, so the whole it's basically an anime plot line, but that's not a bad thing. So yeah, I suppose there has to be some benefit to entering the game other than being cursed, or just cursing someone. So I think I like that's again another reason why I liked the getting a specific trait or ability. And then now that I say that, I'm just gonna jump into the kitchen for a second here. I can totally see this story being used as a seed for a game, maybe in Little Fears or even Monster and the Childish Things, where the character uses the weird power rules to gain a specific ability, and then the story of the game or even the campaign would be trying to get protective items / stop stop the curse itself entirely, or maybe trying to find a way to stop the beings that take you, while also dealing with douchebag asshole other players, right? I mean players as in people of the game, not the game that you're running. Although I'm sure some PvP might come into play depending on your players.
For sure.
But yeah, so and then here's the one thing that here's not a continuity, I guess it's kind of a continuity issue, but with Starlov in the game, he reasoned that instead of 2 weeks, I now probably had only about 9 days left, and that was when Jason explains to Starlov that Kaylee had taken some of his time, and my thought on that was how does he know exactly how many days he has left?
Because he's researched the game, and if he knows what the time power does, he'll know. It's okay, well, you were in the game at this point. Your time was taken at this point. This is this many days after. This is how many you have left.
I guess, yeah. And it just seemed kind of how do you know how much time the time thief power takes? I don't know. It just wasn't explained.
His whole character purpose is I'm an exposition dump to tell you information.
I am the expert on the game.
Things. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fair. He
might be a time vampire himself.
Device. Yeah.
We don't
know what his power. Yeah, we don't know what his power quirk is. No, he's the plucky sidekick character of the anime, who we never reveal what his super special power is until the very, very end. So we're by season 2, we'll find out what Starlov's power quirk is.
Yep, totally.
Yeah. All right, onto the part with the woman's suicide. I don't know what it is, but it was bugging me. Reading that paragraph of that encounter, it happened really quick in the story, but there's a lot there to digest. Like, she's dressed rather skinheadishly, so like we figure out like she's probably like she's dressed up to fit the motif of the Nazi armband thing, because that's obviously her protective item, maybe.
Yeah. It is.
And then she's raped, and she can't take the burden of the armband anymore. So, and maybe also because she was raped, which is understandable. Like, that's pretty fucking terrible. And then hands it off to somebody, some rando, that chance encounter, and then shoots herself. And I don't know. It just felt like it was a bit like for the sake of the story. I know like Jason needed to find the armband, like, because that's kind of the plot of the story. But it seemed like way too convenient. Because like even previously, like we get like a single sentence, like after 7 days of booking, this encounter happened, and I was given the item. And I was like, I don't know, it just seemed really just way too quick, and like,
because the whole idea of the item is like once you find it, you know that this is it.
Yeah.
So like this was given to him. It's like, okay, well, this is it. This is a traumatic experience. This feels right. This is it.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. It just seemed way too.
Spoon-fed.
It happened. Yeah, it's way too exactly. Like, happened way too conveniently, and then she just like offed herself so that like there's no more like you can't talk to her anymore. I'm not like she just arrived as quickly and then departed as quickly. I guess I'm bugged by the by how like spoon-fed it was. Like, I kind of wish there had been a little bit more about like him, a little bit more desperation in his search that we kind of got from the previous one, or either we had in the previous one, or I'm misremembering.
The previous one was fucking. I'm sorry, but it was terrible for the search. Just like we couldn't find anything for a week. Anyways, I gotta go to bed. I can't find anything for the next week, and then that's it. Like, this time, at least there's something going on, and you see what happens when you get it.
No, and I get that. This is what I'm misremembering from the previous. This is what I remember from the previous one. We commented in that one that there should have been more of a search. And I guess that while, yes, we get a little bit more of a search in this one, I felt like there should have been more of a struggle for the search than just being spoon-fed. Like, having a sentence of like, I searched for 7 days, and then after that, I was just handed it. Like, I don't know. That's, I think, what's bugging me. Like, this is the one part that like really bugged me about this story, was that it just...
I want to see the failed attempts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see him like looking around. Like, I want to like see some part of the journey, not just the destination. Because it's not always about the destination; it's about the journey. Like, it just seems like he's like, yeah, he's just handed to him like way too like plot devicey.
Or because the character of Jason is describing everything that's going on, he felt it was unnecessary to list all of his failed attempts. So he's just like, "This is what happened when I got it."
I guess, but like, I don't know. It still bugs me the way it's written. So. All right, moving on then. This is my last one before we go into final thoughts.
Oh, it's the last one before Mikey can continue.
Well, before my final thoughts, which are going to be Gamer, have you not seen the do you not remember the how I've been saying this over the course of like weeks? For the game or for the story or for our show?
I tend to ignore 90% of what you say until it's my turn.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. Yeah. I do talk a lot. Mm-hmm. I'm continuing to talk a lot. Her problem may have been as simple as her not having a data plan or a cell phone that was advanced enough. And this is in regards to like why Stephanie in the previous one didn't have didn't show any of her abilities or anything like that. And I do like that this story addresses both issues from the previous story, like not just the fact that like her she didn't have powers like they do in this one, or that like how kind of like how the way Jack handled like stuff in that other story. I do like how they address some of those issues from the previous story in this one, as well as adding some new things in this story that weren't present in the previous one and addressing why those weren't in the previous one.
But it also addresses that they could have been, because like,
yeah, no, that's what I mean.
She could have been a time vampire too, and she could have infected her friends and taken time off of them. But if I forget the dude's name. Jack, Jim,
Jack, yeah.
Gerald.
Yeah, John.
If
His real name was John, but his narrative name was Jack.
Yes, if Jack never saw her do it, then he has no knowledge of it happening.
Exactly.
She could have had super speed and been flying around the sky for all he knows, but if he doesn't see it, he can't write about it.
Yeah, hell, her power could have been like seduction or like some kind of like domination thing, and that's why he was like so like lovey-dovey about her stuff.
Possibly.
Like, yeah, we don't. The thing was the previous story wasn't told from her point of view, somebody who actually was using the app and game. So, of course, we're not going to have all the information. So that I'm just saying that this story, I like how this story addresses some of the questions that are brought up as a result of adding in things like the powers and the apps and stuff like that. So it adds for it made sense between those the two stories because they're two different authors possibly, or at least posters, and so somebody added some extra stuff, but then also went through the trouble of actually addressing why these powers weren't in the previous story, kind of thing. So again, something I liked about the story, but that is the end of my actual thoughts. So Mikey.
All right, just get. Alright. For the sake of convenience, if my memoir is ever republished, I request that it be under the title Alternate 21328 in the now outdated Windows XP. This is the input that results in the above symbol.
Is that all one sentence?
No, there's two sentences.
Okay.
But my issue with this is that it's not dependent on Windows XP, and the real issue is that it's literally the difference between Unicode and ASCII, because I tested a few text editors that I have on my computer. Two of them wrote the letter P, and the third one wrote the symbol.
Oh, okay.
Mine came through with a P just now.
Nice. So
But
yeah,
it says that it on XP it does that, but anything after that it may or may not work.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't say anything after that may or may not work. It just says outdated Windows XP. And the differentiating factor is what the text editor uses for deciphering alt codes.
Yeah. And this story was written or posted in 2013. So,
Yeah.
So, I mean,
well, either way, with his computer, when he wrote it down on Windows XP, that alt code did that. That's basically what it's saying.
Yeah. But my issue is that it sounds like he's saying, oh, yeah, it doesn't work in the future now, but on outdated Windows XP, it worked.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that was just the one. Yeah, it could have been like a lot made a little bit more clear. Like this is the like as of this part like thing, it works for this. I'm not sure if it's going to work further. Like when with other systems, because I mean, again, he's put this memoir on the internet, so probably expecting that it will last on like beyond like the period. So like maybe like in the future, maybe we won't be using those kind of codes. So kind of thing.
They're used all the time. Like
then I don't have an excuse.
I'm surprised you don't use them for your work.
Yeah, I don't know.
I really don't. There's different alt codes for N dash and M dash and.
Oh, I know. I do
like
actually. I do actually. I use Control 8 and stuff like that for like all the time. But yeah.
Yeah. So it's. Yeah, my issue was that it wasn't an XP feature. It's Unicode. Essentially is the key there.
So it should have been like slightly different. Like so, basically the technobabble at the very beginning was wrong.
Yeah.
Long story short, you're more of a tech nerd than Jason is. That's the long and short of it. Because as far as Jason knows, it's an XP only thing. Because maybe he's not super well versed in how all of it works. He just knows that's how you type it in on his computer, but he doesn't know how.
And that could also be the case.
Because he's smart, but he doesn't necessarily know everything.
So, my next note here. I can't remember exactly what model it was, but it was a Motorola, and for the time it was pretty good. I had a web browser, data plan, all the bells and whistles. So, as we assumed, he probably had a Motorola Razr.
I mean, I said that, but like I didn't actually think that it was a Razr. I just assumed, like he said that he wasn't sure what model it was, but it was a top end like Motorola. So I was like, okay, so I'm just going to assume that it was a top end Motorola because he didn't actually say a model type. So,
but the one that was predominant and popular at the time was the Motorola Razr.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, and I had one, so
My dad had one.
I know that you can't really do much with it, and you can talk text and very limited internet. You could browse things, but at the time websites weren't really mobile optimized, and you'd get basically text is the best you could do for a lot of them.
Okay.
It
can do all the things it needs to do in the story.
Yeah, this is like it's less of a. I think the issue you're having is that like you're you don't think that the phone would be able to handle the app thing?
Well, okay. So in regards to apps, I do recall that the Motorola Razr did have apps because I downloaded a couple of games to my own, so I know it had some app functionality.
Okay.
The biggest issue that I have is that the Motorola Razr did not have GPS at all.
I'm going to counter you real quick.
Here's the thing.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Motorola Razr also didn't have invisibility options.
Yeah, or other powers. Yeah, the thing is about this. The thing about this is that this is not within the realms of possibility. This is a supernatural cyber app, basically. Yeah. It's magic and technology living together.
But the problem is the screen resolution is so small that having a GPS on the screen would not be very nice to work with at all.
Yeah, but they'd make it work because magic.
But he wouldn't be able to zoom in on his room like it does in the story.
No.
Yeah, maybe the app has like a function for zooming in and out.
I played Tetris on my old flip phone, and those are like tiny little blocks going in.
Also, even my old phone, like my old flip phone, like I was able to like watch videos or take photos and stuff of that, and I could like zoom in and out of those. I understand, like this.
Sorry, Mike, I'm gonna fight you on this.
yeah, same. Like this isn't a function. Like this isn't a. We are not this basically has signified that this is no longer a mundane like horror thing. This is something supernatural, as it has been around since like the beginning of like telecommunications. So
well, okay, but the thing is, with telegrams and mail, you're limited to the mail system. So why aren't you limited to the phone in this? It doesn't have GPS capabilities, so how can you suddenly use GPS?
You also don't know. Okay, all this stuff from telegrams and stuff, we don't know any of the specifics about it. The telegram could come through, but it also could come through with a package that has a scroll in it. When you open the scroll, it's a freaking magic GPS. And there's another scroll with your spell on it that you can open up and say the words and use your spell. We don't know the specifics of what happened back then.
Yeah, exactly.
Magic. We don't fucking know.
Yeah, it's this is the part of the mechanics of it, or like the technology of it, that where it's like it's borrowing magic to make things do things that wouldn't do otherwise. Like, yeah.
Well, the thing is, like, my issue is that the phone is doing something that it's not designed to do. I'm okay with the supernatural powers it's giving the guy, but the phone can't do the GPS, and
magic can do the GPS.
Yeah, exactly. Then you just chalk it up to like, if the phone can't do it, then that's obviously a part of the magic of the cursing app. Like it's not like it's basically just the magic is in the technology.
I think we're going to have to agree to disagree on this.
That's probably best.
Yeah.
Because we're hitting a cyclic argument. Yeah.
Moving on.
Yes. Mikey.
Tell us
Do
what
I
side of this
have
argument
any-
you are on in the comments below.
Yes,
Is there comments
if you-
below?
we'll have comments. We have comments below. Or send us a message on Twitter or send us an email.
Yeah.
Team Mikey or Team Gamer Cultist?
Gamer cultist.
Cultist Gamer. Team Green Yellow or Team Starfield?
Yeah, well, and then later it talks about Stephanie,
Mhm.
and her problem may have even been as simple as her not having a data plane or a cellular phone that was advanced enough. So
yeah, because if she
it
didn't
does
have
re-
a phone that was advanced enough to receive the app, then she can't have it.
but the app is magical.
But you
yes,
need-
but
I see what you're
Um,
saying, because you're countering us the same way we countered you. It's magic, so why can't it work? I get it.
Yeah. the thing is with that, like, he also admits he doesn't know, like, if it's something technological or if it's something magical. So, like, that's kind of the out, like, the narrative out on that is like the character is still trying to figure it out. He just doesn't know.
Yeah, if it was a first-person perspective from Stephanie, and she told us that it doesn't work because her phone's not advanced enough, then I would be agreeing with you. But it's theoretical through the eyes of Jason, and for all we know, Stephanie could have just been a fucking psychopath and just wanted to ruin everyone's life by
Yeah.
like, I have these powers, I could do these things, but I'm just going to keep sending emails out and ruin everyone's life because I'm a terrible person.
yeah, basically.
You're right, but it's based
Uh,
on like theoretical evidence.
Well, just the whole thing about saying, well, the phone might not be advanced enough, and I mean, he's saying that, but
We move on
his
from
phone
this.
itself isn't advanced enough.
He said his is.
But
Yeah, he had like
it's-
yeah. Again, we're going into the cyclic argument. Like, again, it's a point of
He had a
conjecture.
top line phone at the time. It's advanced
Yeah.
enough.
Exactly. Yeah, his
We need
phone
to
would
move
be,
on
and
from
we don't
this.
know-
Please.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, yes. Did any of us actually look and see what a Motorola like high end of 2007 was?
Oh, for fuck's sakes. 2007.
Well, it wasn't Android because Android didn't come out till 2008, and Apple didn't come out till 2011.
Best Motorola model in 2007. 2000.
Razor.
Razor was it?
Oh, it's Ritter. It's R-I-Z-R Z8.
Yeah, the Razor. That's
Z8.
oh no. There's also there's also the Pebble in 2005 and the Roker in 2005, the Cursor
Okay.
in 2006, and then the Motorola Q in 2007, which is more of is a non-touchscreen phone with Windows Mobile 5.0 smartphone edition OS. It was basically an alternative to the BlackBerry. So there were, and then there's the Motorola Riser Z8, which was
It's like a slide phone.
yeah, it's a slide phone, like a funky, like cybery slide phone kind of look
Pretty
to
sick,
it.
actually.
Yeah, that was that was the recent most like that was the most advanced one of 2007. I'm looking through like the quick bio thing. Was pitched as a video device. Screen that supported 60 million colors and 30 FPS were the other highlights, as were the HSDPA connectivity, stereo, Bluetooth, 2 megapixel camera, and expandable micro SD card slot. So, yeah. Mikey, I'm not fighting you like saying that you're wrong, like that like the technology isn't there to support it. I'm just saying that the story has obviously added in a element of supernatural. So anything that like any incongruities with technology, I'm going to just go on the assumption that it is something to do with the supernatural element. So
All of the facts, quote unquote, brought up that aren't directly happening in this story are theoretical. It's what possibly happened back when like telegrams were a thing, and what Stephanie possibly did, why she possibly didn't use powers. Like, we don't know anything for certain, so we can't really agree or disagree on anything on this subject.
Yeah.
Anyway, continuing.
Yes.
We did it.
Mikey's just stewing there, just like, I'll kill you guys next time I see you.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure we deserve it.
Right. So my next quote here. The symbols recycle themselves over and over again, and each time that they complete a full cycle, they get smaller. It's a countdown, ticking away inexorably towards some event. And my thought process is, yes, those capitalized numbers that are bigger than your regular numbers. I can understand how that works. Wait.
Really? Font size differences that go down.
Why would the font go down?
The magic app.
Is the font going down, or is it or is it shrinking in that like it's like a number like or like symbols going away? Like is it shrinking in terms of like how many symbols are in the line of the pattern? Like until like basically there's not. It's basically shrinking in terms of like the digits. I think is kind of what I thought it was. That's what I didn't think. I didn't
visual on it to be.
Yeah, well, again,
honest.
it's weird. It's a written medium, but
well, I know, but it didn't.
yeah,
Really, what I'm getting at is it didn't really describe it super well.
Yeah, that's true. Like I think like maybe if the way I'm kind of interpreting it, I didn't interpret it as like a font size thing. I interpreted that the we're basically losing. Like the reason why they think it's a countdown is because they're losing digits, like like at a rate. So like there's less and less symbols popping in through the pattern.
Well, what it says is the symbols recycle themselves over and over again, and each time that they complete a full cycle, they get smaller. Which means, in my eyes, if it's ABCD, the second set of ABCD, instead of being size 10 font, it'd be size 9 font. It's getting smaller.
No, that's not it. If we're going by that, it's ABCD, and then the next cycle would be ABC, and then the next one would be AB. Like it's basically doing that. That's what it is. It's basically like one of the digits is being removed. Like at every. That's how I interpreted it. So like because they said it's a countdown. Why would it be if they bring up that it's a countdown? Why would it be that the font is changing? Like how would they come to that conclusion if it was just the font change like changing size?
Eventually, when it goes to 0, there's no font anymore. It's
but that makes no. But that's idiotic. Like it has to be that like
the same result regardless.
Not really, but like it makes more sense like for them to like figure out that it's a cycle or it's a countdown if each progressing pattern has one less like symbol in it, because that would clearly
that'd be nice. It's
100%. Yeah, like the way it's written, it's a little vague.
Yeah,
it's too vague for my liking.
That's fair.
So that's the end of my actual thoughts.
Cool. So mine.
Yep.
I also noticed I had a new app which I had no recent memory of installing. So as soon as that happened, I'm like, hacker installed, and my first question was, did he not try to uninstall it? But later on, he tries, and I guess it doesn't work. Could apps be just installed on your phone like that, just without you doing anything?
It's almost like it's a supernatural curse.
Oh, I know. I'm just thinking, like, even in his mind, if he's thinking in a rational situation, that'd be normal enough that he's that he's warranting not freaking out as much as he should be.
Well, on newer phones, if there's a software update, it can install some new apps onto the phone because of the software update, but
yeah.
As far as like it installing on its own,
is that kind of like phishing? Like,
well, he would have had to click a link on a website page or something.
Well, the rationale he gave is that there was a virus on the text message that she sent.
Yeah, which really just is there was a link in the text, or like the text message was a link more than anything.
Yeah, if it was a link, that would make sense. But if there's a virus in the text message, that becomes a bit more iffy. If it was an email that he was checking on his phone, then there's the potential for a virus or something to be sent via email.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, also you gotta understand, like you gotta think, like maybe this guy like just assumes that like as soon as you click on something, that means that there must be a virus. Like maybe he doesn't realize that like you have to it has to be a link for you to actually click for a virus. Like, because again, like people like nowadays still think that like simply by like even if that email is in your computer on your email, like as soon as you get that, you like they sometimes think that is there's a virus already infecting your computer, even though you have to actually click on something in that email in order to actually activate.
Well, older emails, the act of opening the email could infect your computer.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to click any link; you just had to open the email.
Yeah, so then that way of thinking like was probably like might have been a little bit more prevalent in for this story. And again, it's he's not sure what caused it. He's just assuming, or he's just like theorizing that's what it was, right? So
I'm just surprised he didn't try to uninstall it immediately when he saw it.
Yeah,
Like he had to wait until he got home to try it. It don't
maybe
matter.
he was worried. Maybe he was worried it would take too much time. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe
As he sits there on the toilet in the bathroom
Yeah,
of
pretty
his high
much.
school.
Either way, next part. It's when how am I forgetting her name? Derp.
Kaylee?
Yeah, when she's
Kaylee,
like, dumbass
Stephanie?
didn't even know to keep his phone on.
Yeah.
Thanks for the time, douchebag. I didn't really know what thanks for the time was at the time.
Yeah,
I didn't
but
know
that's
if she
'cause-
like it did something to him while he was knocked out. I don't know.
That's because it's not red herring. It's foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing,
like,
yeah.
Information we're going to find out soon after.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's
I
that's
thought
just
like it might have went down like a way darker path, like a fucking what's the can't think of the creepypasta anymore. I took it out of my mind. Where they
Shit.
go to the mountain with the steel gentleman.
Nebraska.
There you go. I thought I was gonna like slightly go into a Nebraska situation there, especially since like rape was brought up later. You know, yeah.
EV
Anyways,
level
moving on.
rising.
Yeah, a little bit. And then,
Well, that was like me with the cell phone game. I thought the cell phone game was going to be like an alternate version of like the Nebraska situation, but
yeah, pretty much. Then it goes into describing all the different links, and the second link is on the app is all grayed out links.
Mhm.
And at the time, I thought I called it as all the grayed out links were all the people that have been taken and killed. Like that was their like URLs or whatever.
yeah. I honestly kind of got that impression as well.
However, later on we find out that he just didn't scroll enough to find that there's one blue one.
Yeah, his
That
one
shows him what
power.
his
It's
power
actually
is.
it's actually just a listing of powers,
Yeah, pretty much.
which is actually kind of neat. Like again, like it's like, oh shit, you can choose any of these powers except except for the ones that are grayed out, the ones that are blue, not grayed out. Like I think I actually thought I kind of liked that idea once I came around to that. Once it came out to that like reveal.
Wonder if he had even more, because
He just didn't look hard enough.
yeah, or like what do you have to do to
Or,
earn
like,
more?
Yeah, maybe the more victims you get, the more powers you get. Because that's honestly what I thought. Like why Kaylee had a second power was that she had like cursed some other person or something. Like didn't her friends go like vanish or something like that, or was that they were just like
Yeah, she killed
yeah,
her
they're her
friends.
friends. Yeah. So I was thinking like, oh, maybe she cursed her friends, and then like because that she gains powers by doing that. Like, but it's never really brought up in the story. It's kind of a gap.
Mm-hmm. Then my next one, he told me that the item could be anything, but whatever it was, it would cause me terrible anguish. So the rules are still that simple, even in this sequel.
Yeah.
And like, they still couldn't find anything in the previous story. Like, they went through all that time with the rules being that simple. Had to be something that caused you terrible anguish. They couldn't find anything.
Yeah.
I
Well,
still find
also
that weird.
it's something that like you will instinctively. It also like says that it will instinctually come to you, like you will know what it is when it presents itself, and you have to be open to like receive, like to keep, like to you have to be open to to using it, kind of thing as well. Like they also address that. So
She may have not been open to using it then, like Stephanie.
exactly, like Steph may not have like wanted, like sometimes, like I think Starlife even said, you have to be willing to like use it, otherwise like sometimes it'll just pass you by as well. So like she may not have, like she may have found her item, but she wasn't willing to do it because she didn't want to accept that was what she had to do with, right?
Yeah, she just wanted to keep cursing people. Yeah, fair enough. Then my last note is just each player getting different abilities in the app to affect people in real life. Just this is getting silly at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
On to final thoughts from there.
All right. So I guess that's the end of actual thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
On to final thoughts. We were talking about like how the or at the very end it mentions like that the cycle is getting smaller, and there's a countdown ticking away inexorably towards some event. At this time, we don't have any evidence as to what that may be. And then he signs off Jason Rademacher. I'm not sure how that is.
It's probably
pronounced.
close enough.
Yeah, and my honestly, like as soon as I finished reading, I was like, "Ooh, more mystery by the end." Like it's like it wasn't the revelation that I had from the cell phone game, but it was like a nice like cliffhanger mystery that maybe we'll get like an answer to someday. Like we'll get a sequel or someday about like the it counting down or something like that. Like it's like the movie 24 or like not the happening or the knowing. That's what it was, where like certain people are like are just suddenly getting knowledge of like the end of days, basically, or like the end of like some cataclysmic event kind of thing, or seeing some patterns in like a number. Like it kind of like I like how it alludes to like that kind of thing by the end. Honestly, for the most part, this story was pretty good. Like pretty solid. Both as a complementary story to the previous one and on its own in some ways. It needs some work, obviously, but like it needs a lot less work, I feel, than the previous one. At the same time, it wasn't by the same author, so like that might just be a level of like writing competency between the two authors, or it might have just been like kind of the reason why, because this one was a little bit more competent because the character was more competent than Jack. So
yeah, maybe.
Yeah. All in all, though, I recommend. Yeah. But yeah, all in all, I actually recommend this one because I really enjoyed reading it. So that's the end of my final thoughts. Mikey, V stands for evil.
All right. Well, you're probably gonna guess where this is going.
Yeah.
For me, the story was ruined by technology.
The technobabble was not
as
strong.
always.
Yeah.
Now, this was posted in 2013, and if the timeline was 2013, I wouldn't have any problems. But this is 2005, so yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, I can't please everybody.
Yeah,
so.
I can't recommend it.
Okay.
If you like your technology and you, I guess, can't stand it when people don't have used the technology sort of as it was made and not just give it superpowers of newer technologies have, then you'll not enjoy this story.
Yeah. So if you don't like anachronisms, because anachronism, I believe, is the word for that. That means that where like it's something, an older piece of tech that has newer technology functions. Yeah.
All
right. Fair enough. Gamer.
So the game giving them superpowers in real life kind of wrecks it for me. It's kind of silly. People would have seen this stuff happen if it was more common, and it would have been common knowledge by now. If you're seeing kids like run like the Flash and turn invisible and do God knows what. So it's kind of weird that it's so shocking to him that it's a thing. Like, how could it be kept on the DL when it's given to kids who are, they're not going to be the most subtle about it. They're going to get power trips and just do God knows what with it.
I disagree, but I'm not going to fight you on it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just because,
Well-
like this is your final thought. So yeah.
I'm agreeing
let me
with
put it
Gamer
this
in
way.
Yellow.
Huh? What?
Yeah. What was that, Mikey?
I'm agreeing with Gamer in Yellow because teenagers are stupid.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah, like,
agree.
let me put it this
I
way. When
also,
she was fucking voice lag, go.
sorry. No, I that's fine. I don't agree with you, but I'm not going to change your mind. So
Let me put it this way: when she was walking away from a party drunk, she being, why do I keep forgetting her name? Kaylee.
Kaylee.
When she was walking away drunk, like walking down the street, then Jason got in touch with her, talked to her, and she did like a dash punch, like superpowered dash punch in the middle of the street that anyone could have seen her do.
But no one did.
How do you know no one did?
How do you know no one did?
How do you know
Like,
no one did?
I'm just saying, man. Like it's a narrative thing. Like
They're
I've
not
seen
trying
like,
to be subtle about it, is my point.
yeah, but at the same time, it's also small scale. Like it's only a handful of people that are like exhibiting these things. So, and people, the general populace, may not want to believe it. Like that's actually kind of the excuse that Delta Green gives. Why people haven't, or why in the day and age of like of cell phones and like the internet and stuff, like why hasn't like the mythos been discovered? And the reason is because YouTube fakers and like people will like people who take video evidence of it will just be, oh, it was faked. It was that's a nice Photoshop or a nice video edit kind of thing. Or yeah, like they're basically, it's relying on the idea of global skepticism.
I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah, fair.
But either way, I like that we get to know Ruttenbacker more and see his side of things, even though it is kind of like how we expected that he's not actually a Nazi. But it's nice to see that it was confirmed.
Yeah.
I'm sad we didn't get any conclusion to the events, like what comes for them and such like that. But the addition of the app and the powers made it less enjoyable to me personally. So unless there's a threequel that comes out to finish it, I'd suggest just reading the first part, because this one just kind of ruins the fear of it, because it just makes it more outlandish and anime like you said, where and it's something like you normally say, less is more. And if you're saying like all this like outlandish magical powers and stuff, it's taking away from the fear. Where like you're not in a Call of Cthulhu situation anymore, you're in like straight up
Monster of the Week or Monster and a Childish Thing. Because honestly, this screams Monster and a Childish Things, and maybe it's maybe my bias there is that like I really enjoy that, and you can get fear in that, but it's also like at this point like they've implemented powers, so it's like the movie Chronicle where kids start getting superpowers and start recording themselves using their superpowers. And it's, but like sometimes the power corrupts, so there's like antagonistic kids with powers. Like there is a horror element, but at this point it's more going for like a thrill ride than a true horror element.
That's the problem. I was enjoying the horror. I was enjoying the street level. You're just a dude, and there's this unknown force that's going to come get you. Maybe it's just a bunch of dudes in ski masks, but maybe it's some monster that we have no idea what it is. But I liked that mystery, and now it's just you're a superpowered kid, and there's some superpowered thing coming after you. Like it's evening the playing field a little too much for my opinion, for my liking.
Yeah, fair. My thing on this is like, so yeah, like you said, like if you didn't like this one, you can go into that one, because these two aren't technically, and we're not 100% confirmed on this, but these were posted by two separate people. So these are basically two separate stories. Two. There's a link, so yes, but I mean,
I'm assuming the original author was contacted by the sequel author, and the original author was like, you know what, that's totally fine. I'll link it in. It's canon.
That might be, yeah. Well, canon, maybe, but at the same time, like you said,
the next button.
I know. Calm down. I'm just saying, like, yeah, like you said, if you didn't like this one, then just stick with the other one, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Like, or if you liked the idea, because like, yeah, these do present two very different angles of this like game. Like the first one's a lot more like down to earth, like ritual horror, pasta kind of thing. Like, and then this one presents more of an anime kind of feel. And yeah, you're gonna like some people are gonna like it, some people are not gonna like it. So as our recommendations have shown. So yeah,
I said my 2 cents.
that was this week's episode. If you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below where this gets posted, whether it be on Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. We're on Twitter, so you can send us messages there. Mikey is at the East Ends for Evil. The Gamer in Yellow is at the Gamer in Yellow, but without the W because his name is really long. And I'm at Review Cultist. You can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com. Where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas, SCPs, or short horror internet fiction that you'd like us to discuss on the show. If you'd like to help support the show financially, you can go to Patreon. Look up Al Dente Rigamortis and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $2 and $5 tier with special episodes, early access, extra content. For our patrons that are already helping support the show, thank you guys immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay, and we very much appreciate that. For our listeners and the writers of these stories, thank you guys immensely, because without your listenership, we really wouldn't have much of a show. And without your stories, we really wouldn't have much of a show. So thank you guys all the same. Until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The EU stands for evil.
I'm the Gamer in Yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.